What is this?
Hello and welcome. It finally arrived, my book, and as well the first turn or the first campaign turn. It took a very long time and I can't promise that it will take less long for the next turn. And there were some difficulties and technical issues you will see later in the video, so I apologize for that already. But let's jump right into the campaign turn. The first step is the travel step, where we could travel to a new world if we choose so, but this costs us at least 5 if not 6 credits, so we don't have enough credits to do so anyway, so we'll skip this step and go directly to the world step. First we need to pay our crew. Since we have only 4 crew members, we only need to pay 1 credit, which brings us down to 3 credits. We then have the option to pay up our debt from the ship, but since we don't have that much money, we forgo that step, and we only increase the debt by 1 credit from 15 to 16 credit. We then use our water purifier, our equipment, which lets us purify some water and sell it for 1 credit, which brings us back up to 4. We can now send our crew to some tasks to do on the world. First we send off Touchdown for some exploration. He rolled a 61, which means he finds a trainer, which gives him 2 XP, but since he's a bot, he cannot earn any XP, so that's pretty useless. So the trainer just shows him some sick moves to do, but Touchdown just doesn't get it. It's not in his programming and just ignores it. Next up is Mole, that goes out and trades some useless stuff and junk for maybe something better. She finds some contraband that she now can try to sell off, and she does so by rolling a 1d6, and I gain 2 credits for that. Harrow also tries his luck by trading some of their useless junk for maybe something better. He gets some pre-owned stuff. What exactly this means, we have to roll up in the loot table, which gives us damaged weapons, and these are slug weapons, and in the end we just get some auto rifles, or an auto rifle and a shotgun, which are currently damaged and need to be repaired before we can actually use them. Lastly, our fearless leader, Dancer, is going out and exploring a bit of Kiki's sanctuary, and he finds some interesting things, some gadgets on the floor. It just needs a little love, and he finds actually a cyber hand, but similarly to Harrow's loot, it's damaged and needs to be repaired before it can be used. All in all, a good result. Both gangsters or ex-gangsters were able to get some contraband and some shifty deals with weapons, as expected from them, I guess. And at least we got some credits out of that and some sweet weapons that we can maybe use next turn. And we also found some very interesting gadget that we can also probably use next turn, hopefully. Touchdown was completely useless, but he's a bot. What do you want to do? Since we started with a patron in this campaign, we can also roll for a job offer from a patron. This includes the type of the patron, its danger pay, and the time frame we need to do this, as well as some benefits, hazards, and conditions. In the end, we get a job offered from the local government. They will pay us good. They will pay us +2 credits for whatever their normal pay is. But we have to do it right now. But lucky for us, there is no additional hazards or conditions, but also no additional benefits, so it looks like an okay job. We now have to settle for the equipment and crew that we bring to this mission. We only have the 4 crew, so that's pretty an easy decision. I chose to give Dancer a bit more the coordinating guy, so he doesn't get that well of a weapon. He's probably should stay mostly in the back and use his communicator to coordinate everything. Touchdown gets the hunting rifle because he really shoots really well, so he can do maybe a lot of damage with that. He can't move, unfortunately, or he can't move and shoot a bit worse because of the heavy trait, but the +1 combat should alleviate that. And the other 2 guys are basically my close combat guys because they can act really quickly. Are really quick. They can get into the position really, really fast. So that's why I gave them some melee weapons. Last, we have to check if a rival has caught up with us. We have to roll a 1, but we fortunately just roll a 2, so there's no rival incoming. So now we are free to choose our battle that we want to do or our job, and we choose the patron job to do because it pays well and we have to do it anyway right now, so let's do it. Before we can head into battle, though, we have to find out exactly what the battle is. So there is a bunch of rolling here now that determines the conditions, the enemies, the type of enemies, and how many, etc. that we face. If we face, for example, even some unique individual, even so we were quite. At some points we were quite lucky, in some points we were quite unlucky. There is like 8 guys that I have to fight here, which is quite unfortunate, but the type of enemy that I have to fight isn't that big of a deal. So in the end, I think I also did a mistake here that I chose not the correct objective. I looked in the wrong table, but I'm sticking with it. So I'm defending here. There is no conditions. There is a specific item here, the peculiar item here, a notable site that gives me +2 XP if I choose to pick it up. And we just fight some Starport scum. They're quite, they don't have a lot of toughness. They panic very easily. The lieutenant is a bit scary because he has +1 combat, and the 2 specialists because they got +1 damage melee weapons, but their scrap pistols don't shoot that far. So yeah, in the end, I think I'm quite lucky with the type of enemy I got, even though I got like 8 of them. Our mission is then to defend the warehouse of reactive solutions against any and everybody that tries to steal the stuff that's inside it. What exactly is inside it is just on a need-to-know basis, and we don't need to know. The only thing that we need to know is nobody touches it, so we have to kill everybody that tries to touch it. And this is the point in the video where I have to apologize. The battle report, the battle portion of the report, has a bit of a poor quality, especially when it comes to the dice roll. It's almost very barely visible what exactly did I roll, but I hope it's still watchable, or at least you can see what's going on. I'm trying out some stuff, and apparently this wasn't that great. Before we start with the battle itself, short explanation on the battlefields. Everything here is, there should be a roof on it, but to better view the battlefield, it has been closed off. There's 2 groups of enemies, one on the left and one on the right side. Each have 4 enemies. On the left side we have the lieutenant with his specialist and 2 normal goons, and on the right side we have just 1 specialist and 3 goons. There is the special item here, the shiny bits that we can get to if we want to, but it's probably just because 2 XP, it's probably not that important. And I've deployed here in the middle of the battlefield itself, on my board edge, so I can move better up. First off, we have to roll for initiative. Since Dancer has a +2 savvy and I am outnumbered, I have seized the initiative on a 7 or up on 2d6, and I do. Since I seized the initiative, I can either move or shoot in my first turn. I don't think there is any reason for shoot. I don't see anything from this position on. They're quite well hidden from my viewpoint. But since all of them have pretty high, except for Dancer has a pretty long-range weapon, I'm going to move them to each of one of the flanks. So to get Harrow and Touchdown are going to move a little bit up here. I'm probably trying to be still somewhat in cover, so that if I should lose the reaction roll, I can still move up and probably shoot that one. If I'm right here, I can shoot right through the first one, which should be quite helpful. So I move 5 with Harrow and 4 with Touchdown, so I just get an inch behind Harrow himself. And I'm doing the same probably with those two. I can shoot through here. I can probably see them if I'm in somewhat an angle. So I'm just going probably to just hug the wall here and move up if I need to. And with that, I finish my pre-game move. So it's time for the first reaction roll. Since I roll 4 dice because I have 4 available or 4 alive, plus I roll an additional die because I have the communicator with me. That's a pretty good, well, kind of a good roll. I can probably use some of them to make some initial moves. So let's see what I do with reactions. With my first reaction of 3, I can activate Harrow because he has a reactions of 3. I just move him slightly to this container here, to this small building here, and now I have a more or less clear line of sight to the first guy there, which lets me shoot him. My rifle has a range of 18, which I'm just in, so I can try to hit him. Unfortunately, I think he's still partially a bit in cover still, so I need to roll a 6 or higher to really hit him. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any combat skill, so I need to roll a 6, which I do, which is very nice. So now I have to roll over his toughness and adding the damage of the weapon. The damage of the weapon is 0, so I have to roll a 3 or higher because his toughness is 3. And I do that, so I can remove one of these goons I just killed, which is already good because I need to kill all of them to fulfill the mission. And with that, the action for Harrow is finished. Next up, I decided to activate Mole with my other reaction die. And with her, I just move up into the next thing. I can move 7, and then I can as well move 2 as a dash action, which should me get behind those crates on the left flank. So now I can also try to, in the next turn, to attack the left flank as well. Next up, it's the enemy's turn. They don't have that much or that fast of a movement speed. They can move 4 and can dash 2, so they can move it in total of 6. They have just very crappy pistols that only have a range of 9, so they probably will not be able to shoot any one of us. So they're just going to move up and try to stay in cover. So these move just up here and try to get behind these barricades, and the other ones do the same as well. They can just get there with some dash action. I try not to move the barricade itself as well. On this flank, they just move up a bit to get a little bit closer and also to stay in cover, which is really good for them. And I think he is just going to move over there so he can get behind those crates as well, probably somewhere around here. Now the question is those behind there. I think the first one still can get somewhat behind the crates there, but I think these two are still or this one probably has to move somewhere here to still stay a bit in cover and not to be killed right off again like the others. This one is a bit on the open field, not well covered, but well, what can you do? So next up, I'm activating touchdown here. What's interesting, what I just saw is that touchdown could see through here. There's a window here, and there's the door here, and I can just see this guy here, which is really nice, because touchdown has a hunting rifle, which shoots 30 inches, which is basically more or less the whole table here, but it also has heavy, which means that I need to, if I move it, I get basically -1 penalty to hit. So since I don't have to move, I can just shoot. I need a 6 because it's in range, but he's still behind cover. I mean, there's a window in between, and there's probably this crate here in between. So I still need to hit on a 6, but since I'm also having a +1 combat skill on touchdown, I only need to roll a 5 or higher to hit that guy, which I hit again. I have a 6, really nice. So again, I need to roll a 3 or higher on his toughness, but as well the hunting rifle as well has a damage characteristic of +1, so I only need to roll a 2 or higher, which I succeed regardless. So I can now remove another one of these goons here, and this is really nice because this is the specialist, which has a melee weapon. So that's already 2 goons down, so that's already looking really promising for me and my crew. And at last I activate my leader dancer. Unfortunately he can't see anything, and even if he goes here, they're well hidden behind those barricades that I can't see them. So I think the best thing to do for me here is to just move up and go through the doorway here to try to hide behind this crate or this wall here. So if they move up into here, I can then try next turn to shoot them. I can move it in total 6 inches, 4 for my base movement, +2-inch dash, so I should be fine there. So that concludes the turn of my crew. At the end of the round, there is morale. Since I killed 2 enemy models, I can roll 2 dice, and on a roll of 1 to 3, an additional model will, for each die that shows a 1 or a 2 or a 3, an additional model will flee the battlefield as well. So there's just 1 additional enemy that moves or that flees, and it's just the one that is closest to the battlefield edge, which is probably that one here. He saw just his friends killed, and he just said, nah, I don't want to, and just moves away, and yeah, just goes away. So we're already in round 2, and there is another reaction roll. Again, I roll 5 dice, all of my crew are still alive, and I roll +1 more because I have the communicator. And that's just not a great roll, just a 3 here that I can use with Harrow. All others are just way too slow. So with the 3 I rolled, I can activate Harrow here. He can move 5 inches with his speed. He is really speedy. The question is if I can get around here, because then I can shoot this guy here and I have a line of sight and remove the last one from the left flank here. So yeah, let's see. I think it's just barely I can move to here, which just gets me yeah, barely into the range. So now I can roll again to see, again, he is in cover, he's well within range. I have a range of 18. So I can try to shoot him again on a 6 up. I will hit him. This time around it's the Australian 6, so a 1, so I don't hit him at all. So now it's the enemy's turn. They still can't do that much. My people are very well behind, and they're hidden enough that they can't see anything. So what they do is they just these probably move up here, and these move up here with their 6 inches of movement that they have, and still try to stay behind cover and behind stuff as well. Just because it makes them harder to hit, and as well these that just move up here around this corner as well. This guy here will move up here more or less, so he can shoot Harrow. He has moved up far enough that if he moves there, he's just barely within 9 inches of range that his pistol has. So that's what I want to do, is to just move around here, this corner here, to stay in cover still, to shoot Harrow. He's now within 9 inches, so he can shoot Harrow as well. As I did before, I need 6s to hit him, since he's in cover. So let's see if I can do that. Nope, 2 doesn't hit. So that's probably all that I can do for the enemies in this turn as well. So now I can activate my model Zegger and my crew again. I'm trying probably something here very daring. I can move 4 inches with Dancer. What I would try to do here is to get into range with my handgun, which is also just a lowly pistol, to get to see this, because he moved such in a way that I can shoot him directly here. So he's in an open field, so I just move up here. So I can see him directly. He's in basically open field. There is nothing in between him and me, so I can hit him on a 3 up. The only downside is if I don't hit, I'm in a very bad state here. So let's hope that I hit with my handgun. Unfortunately, I don't have any combat skill, but yeah, so that hits. That is good. And again, there's no damage on it, so there is just a toughness of 3 that I need to beat, which I do. So that means that guy here is done for, and that's good, because that's another morale that is potentially gonna fail. So that's Dancer done. Next up, I activate Mole here. She's just on the left battlefield here. She can move up to 5 inches because she's really fast. So all what I need to want to do here is to just get into an angle so I can just see this guy here, which I just barely can if I just move up here. So I'm still also a bit in cover as well from these guys, but this also means that I'm cover from the enemy that I want to shoot itself as well. So I only hit on a 3 or higher. No, on a 5 or higher. I don't have any combat skill as well, so that's that. So I miss. So yeah, that's the turn for her as well. And last, I can move and fire with touchdown. So yeah, he's not that fast, but I should just barely get as well again into this position here, which lets me shoot that guy over there that I can see. He's still in cover, I would say, because yeah, why not? So I only will hit it on a 6. Since I moved and touchdown has a heavy weapon, he only hits, he gets -1 modifier, but since there's also a combat skill of +1, this just negates, so I just still hit on a 6 or higher, which I do. Touchdown is really lucky this time around, and again on a 1 to 3 I hit his toughness, which I do, so that guy is dead as well, and so that's 2 dead again this turn. So again, we are doing morale. I killed 2 guys, so that's 2 rolls, and there's 2 more that flee, which is basically the 2 remaining here, so they just think, well, yeah, that's it, and they just go away as well. The leader or the lieutenant here never leaves from morale, so he's the only guy left. So yeah, this should be probably a quite fast round 3. So let's see what I can do. So it's time for another reaction roll. Again, all of my crew is still alive, so I roll 5 rolls here, which is okay. Harrow and Mole can activate because Mole has a reaction of 2 and Harrow has a reaction of 3, so at least that is okay. So the quickest thing I probably can do is just to move up with Mole to get into yeah, to basically have him in open field. So I hit him on a 3 up, which I fail, so I miss, which is kind of bad as it looks like. And as I said, I can also activate Harrow, but he can't really do that much. Everybody is just gone. I can try to get to the shiny bit, I guess, but I think Dancer is probably more able to do so, but yeah, he can't dash there, and so that's probably not going to do. So yeah, why not? I just move a bit over here to this position here. There's nothing else going on. Everybody else is dead, so yeah. It is now the enemy's turn, and well, there's only one left, which is the lieutenant here, and he just goes in and goes for the brawl. The lieutenant has a +1 combat action, which is also very good, and he has a blade which helps him as well in the combat, which gives him +2. So now I have to roll off against each other and look at it. So first I roll for the lieutenant, the opponent, which is a 6, which +3 is a 9. That I cannot beat even if I roll a 6, because she has no combat skill and he only has a melee weapon, so even if she rolls a 6, she won't hit him back. I could still roll a natural 6. If I do, I still get to hit him. But if I fail on a 1, I will get the hit back. So yeah, that's just a 7. That doesn't beat the 9 of the lieutenant. So now the lieutenant can do the damage to me, which is similarly that it does in ranged. He only has a blade, so it doesn't do an additional damage, I don't think. Let me quickly have a look. No, it doesn't have a damage rating, so on a 3 or higher, because Mole itself also has just a toughness of 3. So on a 3 or higher, Mole is taken out. But lucky for me, she isn't. But since I took a hit, I moved 1 inch back, so that I'm basically outside of engagement range again. Just this 1 inch. Which is a bit more. She's basically just pushed back from the blunt of the blade that the lieutenant hit her. So next up, I'm going to move and shoot with Dancer. He can move just 4 inches, which should be more than enough to just go outside and shoot the lieutenant, hopefully just directly into the head. I just need a 3 or higher, which I succeeded with, and now I have to also roll a 3 or higher on his toughness, because again I don't have anything else. And finally, the lieutenant itself is dead. And with that, I successfully held the line, or held the field against all my enemies. Even though I was outnumbered, I was lucky enough to kill all of them. And now, so I can go to the end of battle, or final battle, and finish this campaign turn. First off, we roll for the rival status. If I roll a 1 here, then the Starport Scum that we just fought will become my new rivals. But they don't. They just go away. Next up, we get our payment finally. I roll a 1d6. I get +1 because I'm playing on easy. +2 because the patron job gives me +2 danger pay, and because I finished my objective correctly, I get at least 3 on my 1d6. So a 1 and a 2 is treated as a 3. So I get 5 plus 3 credits, so that's 8 credits in total. Next up we have battlefield finds. Because I held the field, which means I killed every enemy, I can roll a d100 to check for an additional stuff that I might have found, because I have time to go over all the battlefield and search for valuables. So let's see what I find. A 27, according to the table, this is Curious Data Stick. So I gain a quest rumor, and that's it. And now I also get some loot after battlefield finds. So I roll on the loot table. So let's roll a d100 to see what I get. That's an 18. So I get a weapon, which is nice. So I roll again to see what type of weapon I get. It's a 21. So I get a slug weapon. Now I have to roll to see what specific weapon that explicitly is. It's a 38. So that is a colony rifle, which is quite good. Next up, we get some experience points depending on how well they did during the fight. Because we start with Dancer, because he fought and survived and we won, we get 3 experience points at least. He didn't inflict any casualty, he didn't kill any unique individual, but I'm playing on easy mode, so he gets an additional experience point. So he gets 4 experience points in total. He doesn't have yet any, so I can't really buy any upgrades, so that's it. Next up is Harrow. He as well survived and we won, so he gets the base 4. He was the one that inflicted the first casualty, sniping that Starport Scum just from the side, so that's nice. And he as well is on easy mode, so I gain an additional experience point, so that's 5 experience points in total, which is still not quite enough. I could buy an additional speed if I wanted to, so he would be very speedy. So he has currently a speed of 5, so he would move 6 inches, which would actually be quite nice, come to think of it, especially because he has a high reaction. But he's not that well in, but well, let's buy, for 5 XP, I buy +1 speed for Harrow. And for Mole, the calculation is pretty much the same as for Dancer, but let's still go over it. She survived and we won, so she gets the base 3 experience points. And she didn't make any first casualty, there were no unique individuals, so she just gets the +1 from the easy mode. So we gain 4 experience points for her as well. That's not enough to buy anything, so we leave it at that. Then we have Touchdown, but because he's a bot, he doesn't gain any XP, so that's it. I choose to not purchase any items. I think the ones that we've got are okay-ish. We also have some things that are broken that we can repair with the credits that we have in the next campaign turn, so I leave it at that. And I also want to leave this hellhole of Kiki's Sanctuary to maybe get somewhere nicer. So that was the plan anyway, so we need quite a lot of gold or credits to do so, so let's save up some of the credits for maybe something else. What we have to do, unfortunately, is to roll for a campaign event. Again, this is a D100 and we see what happens. It's an 80 flat, so that means that I renegotiate some old debts, which is quite nice. But well, I owe some money actually on my ship. So I roll 1d6 and add 1 to see how much we lose, which we basically pay off that debt from the ship. It's just 2 credits, but better than nothing. Next up, we roll on the character event table. I have to choose randomly from a non-bot, non-soulless character, which is basically my 3 normal crew members, so Mole, Harrow, and Dancer. Let's roll a d3 basically, so it's a d6 halved and rounded up, so for 1, 2, and 3. So let's see who is the lucky guy. So it's Harrow actually that receives a character event. So now I roll a d100 and see what happens with him. It's a 41, which is nice because earn a little on the side. I gain +2 credits. Nice. So to summarize, I got in total 10 credits. I paid off 2 ship debt. I got a colony rifle and a crest rumor, so something sinister or dangerous or maybe something mysterious goes on. I have no clue yet, but maybe soon. And Harrow also got +1 speed, so +1 inch, so he now moves up to 6 inches. And this concludes campaign turn 1. I hope you enjoyed it, and let's hope the next campaign turn doesn't take too long to produce.